You asked, what are 10 tips to secure a quality solar quote?
Solar is becoming more and more popular in Australia, and it's no surprise that this will continue to occur. From reducing your electricity bills to making your house more eco-friendly, solar ultimately improves the value of your home beyond just the price. Although, if you're thinking about getting solar and want a top-notch installation, you're going to need a quality solar quote. We have drawn up our top 10 key tips to consider when asking for a solar quote. The first one is understanding your energy usage, because energy patterns, such as the time of day when you use your electricity the most, are critical installer information needed to optimize your solar quote. Grid-connected solar systems are common for residential households, and for these, solar generation is at its prime between around 9 AM and 3 PM. Now, if you're planning on not getting battery storage, then none of the excess energy your system produces will be stored. Therefore, it's important to consider how much energy you actually use during this time period in order to work out whether or not solar is actually beneficial for you. If you have heaps of energy usage at around 8 PM, for example, a time in which solar panels cannot gain solar energy, then a battery may be important to store electricity when they do collect solar energy for later. For the installer, understanding your energy usage habits will also aid in their sizing process as well as the location of the panels. If you have a modern smart meter, installers can easily attain consumption data via your electricity meter. Otherwise, you might need to explain the electricity usage within the property. The best way really is going through your old electricity bills, preferably ones from the last 12 months, and explain your future electricity usage plans too. There are some easy questions you could ask yourself, such as, are there more children on the way? Are your 10 or 11-year-old kids going to turn into energy-guzzling teenagers in a few years? Or are you thinking of purchasing an EV in the near future? All of these aid your installer in ensuring your system is sized correctly. It might also lead to the installer recommending a battery in the future. We really cannot stress exactly how essential it is for your installer to know your roof condition and layout in order to get a great solar quote. A solar system will produce the most amount of energy if it is facing north or northwest. However, each roof orientation is different, and whilst all are still capable of having solar installed, it is best the installer does an analysis to work out exactly what your roof orientation is. It's also important that they understand your roof's sheeting, be it tile, metal sheeting, or slate. The type of roof will dramatically affect the hardware required and how big the maximum size of your system can be. For example, if you want a battery, your solar system size must be bigger than a standard system. As part of the quote, it's also best to see your roof layout with the panel locations clearly marked. This will help you better understand how your system will look when it's finally installed. A roof inspection will also help the installer accurately determine the installation time. For example, slate roofs or roofs with old brittle tiles will take slightly longer. Making sure your installer is aware of the condition of your meter board and electrical infrastructure is essential for getting a quality solar quote. A physical site inspection will let the installer determine the cable run from the roof solar cells to the switchboard and enable them to work out whether the cabling in the home is in good condition or if switchboard upgrades are required. The upgrading of cables and the switchboard comes at a higher price, so it really is essential you know this before the installation date to get an accurate quote. A site inspection can let the installer work out the position for a string inverter or battery should you decide on getting them. Roof axis and panel orientation can also be determined. Some installers might say that they can do this remotely through satellite mapping technology such as programs like Nearmap, but honestly, these cannot give you as much of a detailed overview as an on-site inspection. Installers need to go onto your site before the quote to avoid unexpected issues arising on the day of installation. Companies who decide that they have no time to give you a site inspection really should just be eliminated from your quoting group. Ensuring that the sales company is accredited and uses accredited equipment is our fourth tip to making sure you get a quality solar quote. The Clean Energy Council has a list of accredited installers. You can ask the sales company who they will use as the installer and check if their name is on the accredited list. The exact same applies to the equipment. If you are looking to claim the federal STC rebate, only Clean Energy Council approved panels, inverters, and rackings are allowed to go on your roof. We should make very clear that even if the installer is accredited and the equipment is on the Clean Energy Council approved list, it does not indicate anything about the technical workmanship capabilities of the installer. This leads into our fifth top solar quote tip, and that is check the reputation and background of your solar company. The solar industry is unfortunately infiltrated by so many fly-by-night operators, so you need to make sure you pick the right installation company. We suggest you only engage a company that ticks the following boxes. The company has been in existence for at least 8 years. To check this, request the ASIC number and check when they started. A pretty obvious one is to see if they are local and if they have a showroom, a real Australian office, and are real electricians employed in that company. Something that may seem simple, but that is often overlooked, is to check out the Google reviews. Anything below a 4.2 rating isn't actually that impressive. Also, you want them to have at least 30 to 50 reviews, and shy away from companies who have many hundreds of reviews, because fake Google reviews can be purchased in big volume. If possible, ask them about any customers who they installed for recently, or 12 months ago, and ask if these customers would be okay if you talk to them. If so, ask the customers about their experience with the company and how good the after-sales service was. Do not go with companies that give you a one-size-fits-all quote, deadlines on specials, extremely cheap pricing, or companies with pushy salespeople. Certainly do not purchase from door-to-door salespersons, and if the price is clearly below market rate, the only way that these prices can be achieved is with substandard gear and substandard installations. Finally, avoid anyone that claims they have Tier 1 solar or that their panels magically work under moonlight, because I think it goes without saying that if it's too good to be true, it probably is. A quality solar quote needs to list all the equipment that you are going to purchase. Your quote should in detail list the number of panels, their brand and wattage. Same with the inverter solution. Is it string, microinverter, or a solution with optimizers? What brand and what is the inverter capacity? And what brand racking do you get? All of these need to be listed because they are essential components in any solar system. Also, quotes that just say panels or racking are really not as helpful as ones that actually give you the brand details. Finally, ask yourself if there are extra costs not included in the quote as yet, such as meter upgrades, special safety equipment for steep and high roofs, or even travel fees for the installer. Make sure you ask the question, are there any extras I might be expected to pay for? Or is your price fully inclusive of all matters and possible issues? A quality solar quote should be valid for some time. Quotes usually have a deadline, for example, valid for 30 days. One of the reasons is that the installation company can call you up just before the deadline expires and use it as a hook to make you make a quick decision. Please make sure your quote is valid for at least 30 days, but really the ideal time we suggest probably sits at around 60 days, so you can consider and compare the proposal in your own time, without any deadline pressures. Solar quotes from installation companies need to be listing the various warranties you are going to get. Panels do have a product warranty, and from 15 years onward is a solid time frame we suggest. Inverters should again have a product warranty, and 5 years should be the minimum, but really 10 years is what you want. The same goes with the racking for your system. 10 years is a minimum, but longer is always better. Then there is the Workmanship warranty, which is a warranty given by the installer that the system has been installed correctly. This covers things such as if the fuses trip or if the panels become loose. 5 years is an average period, and 7 years is what some of the top companies give you. Also, make sure the Workmanship warranty stays with the installation company for its duration. Sometimes they can use subcontractors and try to palm the Workmanship warranty onto them. Make sure you ask who is responsible for honoring the Workmanship warranty, and it must be the company that sells you the system. Ignore the worthless panel performance warranty, which is usually around 25 years. We have numerous FAQs on our website that outline just why it's completely irrelevant, and see our FAQs on this subject matter. Our 9th solar quote tip is that the quote should give you an estimate of how many kilowatt hours your solar system is producing per month and per annum. Your installer will have access to similar software and should give you a predicted system output, taking into account any shading issues in your particular situation. The quote should then take this information and make some predictions of annual savings that could be achieved. If this information is not included in the quote, you need to ask the installer to supply it to you. That way, in future years, you can check and see if these savings were actually realized. Who do you call if there is an issue? Our last, but certainly one of our most important tips is making sure your quote states who you call if there is an issue. The quote or handover material, if you go ahead with the company, should clearly state who you call for after-sales service and warranty matters. In the instance of working this out during the quoting stage, you want to deal with the installation company and not the manufacturer. Don't let yourself be fobbed off to the manufacturer. You want the company that sold you the gear to be looking after you, and the Australian consumer law backs you in this desire. Taking on board this comprehensive solar quote guide will give you a much higher probability of getting a long-lasting, quality solar system, rather than a fast and furious customer who simply purchased on just price alone.
Want more energy answered? Visit YourEnergyAnswers.com for quality energy products, tools and calculators, and find your quality local installers. Please support the channel by liking the video, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell and check out all our other videos. You're still here? I'll see you next time. Bye.